Hi everybody, welcome to my series of videos called Plan C, the diary of a cancer patient. My name is Mez Solanki. I am 42 years old and I have recently been diagnosed with non-Hodgkins lymphoma. I was diagnosed on the 3rd of February. It's now the 23rd of February. And I wanted to make a series of videos that takes you, the viewer, along some of the journey that I'm having. And in this series of videos, I'll be talking about thoughts, feelings, anxieties, medication, and a whole host of other things. There's a couple of reasons why I'm making this video. One is to let people that know me personally know what's going on. I know they're quite anxious, friends, family, etc. And I think this is a good way for them to kind of keep tabs on me. Another reason, and it's quite close to my heart, is the fact that with cancer, especially with men, it's not really kind of talked about. And as I go through this journey, if there is anybody going through something that I'm going through and isn't confident in speaking to somebody who's had it or going through it, then if they watch this series of videos, they might relate to some of it, and it might help to allay their fears, concerns, and whatnot. So that's the premise of the video. I call it Plan C. The reason why I call it Plan C is, as you go in life, you make your Plan A. You know what your life is going to be like. Moving forward, or how your family is going to shape. All of the things that you hope and dream of. And when some of these don't go wrong, you kind of make a Plan B. But when cancer hits, your Plan A and your Plan B go out the window, and you're solely focused on Plan C or Plan Cancer, and it shapes what your future Plan A and Plan B would be like. So, not to get too clever with the title, I don't know if I change it. I don't know if any of these videos will be kind of continued through. I'm just seeing how it goes. So, I hope that's enough of an intro. Let me tell you about what I've been through. I've been ill for over a year now, and it took a long time to kind of spot the lymphoma. So let's take things back to summertime last year, 2021. It was around about end of July, August time. Things were good. But all of a sudden, I started getting severe night sweats. Whole bed would be drenched, and I didn't know why. I just thought, I've got a memory foam mattress. Summertime, it gets hot. I get sweaty. Whatever. You kind of formulate these notions of why you're going through these. I didn't kind of have any pain at the time, or nothing that I thought I had, but I was going through them and I didn't know why. I kept on ringing the doctor. We were living in COVID times. I guess we kind of still are, despite things being lifted. But it was full-on COVID times. We were locked down. Ringing the GP meant that you'd only get a telephone conversation. None of the GPs would see you in person, which was difficult. Difficult to kind of allay the severity of the night sweats, what's going on. Anyway, they ordered a series of blood tests, and you'd wait for those results to come back. In the meantime, I had friends, family kind of, make comments like, oh, you know what, Mez, you've lost weight, and when you hear these kind of things, you kind of, you take it on the chin as a bit of a compliment kind of thing, it's, oh, thank you, you never kind of really take it seriously. It wasn't until one of my friends kind of said it with some kind of concern. He put me to the side and said, "You know what, Mez, you've really lost a lot of weight here." And that's when I thought, hold on, this guy's he's approaching me with some kind of concern here. So, at that time, I weighed myself and I realized, I'd lost 10 kg. I'd lost 10 kg. I wasn't exercising. I wasn't, I wasn't actively running or doing all of the physical things that you would expect when you're losing, a massive amount of weight. But I'd lost 10 kg in a very short space of time, and that kind of got me concerning. So, again, what do? You go back to your GP, you say, you've lost all of this kind of weight, and you're kind of concerned. Again, they ordered a series of blood tests and things like that. Nothing was found on these blood tests. Eventually, after hounding the GPs, I was admitted to hospital for a colonoscopy, and admitted during this time, I did get a little bit of abdominal pain. But I was given medication to kind of remediate that, and it went away, But going back to the colonoscopy, I guess a colonoscopy was ordered because I had that abdominal pain. They wanted to check my bowels. Without actually saying it, they were checking for bowel cancer. I guess, the fact that I was having night sweats, losing weight, I guess in the medical world, they know what to look out for when it comes to cancer. But I had the colonoscopy, and this was all on the NHS, and it didn't show anything. Colon was clear. The risk of bowel cancer was zero. So things kind of slowed down dramatically after that. At this time, we were approaching December, Christmas period, and I would ring the GP up and say, hey, we've had this test, it's come out clear, which is great, but what's the next steps? Surely it's like to check stomach area, considering that I had pain in this kind of area. So come on, can we get that organized? Can we get that started? But I guess these medical experts, they have procedures and rules in place rather than kind of a patient going, hey, can I just have that kind of procedure? So they were saying, hey, just we've got to have an ultrasound, and maybe we should have an MRI and an X-ray and various kind of other scans. We'll refer you. So those referrals went off, but the whole of December kind of went with no letters from the hospital or the GP, and it kind of left me wondering here what's kind of going on. Yeah, I kind of give it some leeway because it's Christmas, things slowed down, COVID, whatnot. I thought, things might get delayed. It is the NHS, great service, but hugely underfunded. Anyway, it got to January, still hadn't heard anything. And I kind of got really kind of concerned. The quality of life was degrading a lot. I was getting a lot of back pain. I also was suffering from a lot of sciatica nerve pain down my left-hand side, which made walking kind of really painful, standing difficult, kind of thing. I was laid up on my sofa a lot of the time. So, the quality of life was really down. I couldn't live like this anymore. So, I'd put off calling my private healthcare that my employer provided for the longest period, just because, I thought, what, these referrals from the NHS, they're coming, they're coming. But they never did. And thank God I had private healthcare, because when I did inform them, things happened rapidly. Scans started to happen within days, and multiple scans happened within a week. And on, I remember the date, it was the 3rd of February, the day before my birthday, day before my 42nd birthday. I was after a CT scan. The doctor at the time said, Mr. Sankey, we've got evidence of you having lymphoma. Now, a CT scan kind of it gives you a realistic view as to what's wrong, kind of thing, but it's not 100%. To get that 100%, they'd need to take a little sample of that lymphoma cancer and test it. But we were looking at a very educated guess, the same lymphoma, and that was a bomb. That day I learned I had cancer. When you get told that you've got cancer, people say this, but a million things kind of rushing through your head. Kind of think, oh my God, naturally, as humans, your mind darts to the worst case scenario. Oh my gosh, how long have I got left? What about my family? What about my kid? Kind of thing. I remember, these kind of thoughts kind of rushing through my head the minute I left the doctor's office and sat down in my car. And when you dwell on these kind of ideas, they dominate your mind, and they dominate your mind quite quickly. And I had my first wobble in the car. And it came when I thought about my daughter. She's 19 months old. I love her to bits. She's my everything right now. And my first thought was her future and how my wife's going to cope. Suddenly, things got really real for me. What's going to happen? How can we beat this? And I'm a logical person. I see things logically, but I was having an emotional reaction to this. Logically, it's human to have an emotional reaction to such big news, but I had to dial things back. Otherwise, I can't fall apart over this. We've got to find out a lot more. So I convinced myself, went home, and started to think about things logically, the next steps, what we need to do, what I need to do, what do I need to put in place. This is devastating news. How do I build? I need a support system. How do I build that support system? Who do I need to tell? And that's what I went and set about doing. At first, obviously, I told my wife, which was devastating for her. Obviously, it's not news that she wanted to hear. We were kind of prepped for it based on the tests and the things that the doctors were looking for. They would never say the word cancer, but you kind of knew. So it was a shock, yeah. But this was going to be a shock on a wider scale because loved ones need to know, and I needed to build a support system for myself and loved ones, and those people that are your core circle. They're the ones that are going to be there for you on this time. And so I went about starting to tell them. And when you tell these people, they have an emotional reaction. Again, it's only human to have this emotional reaction. They fear for you. Again, they shoot and fear for the worst. But you got to put things in perspective. Cancer it's not how it was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. The advancements in medical science here are now so advanced that this is a blip. Sure, it's a serious blip, but it's beatable. In fact, when we're looking back at the statistics, there's a 60 to 70% chance of survival with the kind of cancer that I have, lymphoma, non-Hodgkins lymphoma. That gave me, that gave me some strength. However, in the back of my mind, there's still a 30 to 40% chance that it wasn't going to go successful, and that's not a small percentage. You've really got to think about that. But it's your core circle and the people that are around you the most that really kind of have to be there for you, and they need time to digest this information. They need to have their own emotional reactions. Some of them might also need their own support systems. So I went about putting that in place. I contacted friends, I contacted family, and I made sure that each one was there for each other. I knew who was going to be there directly for me. I knew who was going to be there for my family. And once I had that support system in place, I knew I was ready. I knew I was ready for whatever came about. And I'm a glass half full kind of person. I've had to adopt that kind of attitude to other kind of tragedies in my life. And for anybody who's been through a tragedy, especially when they're young, they develop a coping mechanism. Now, my tragedy, you know what I mean? When I was younger, just as I turned 18, my father passed away. And when you're 18, you're not an adult. You're becoming an adult. You're pretending to be an adult, but you're not an adult. And my world fell apart. It's devastating. It's still devastating. But I had to separate my emotional side, my logical side. There was so much to do. Organizing a funeral, making sure that my mum and brother was okay. All of these things. I had to support them. They had to support me. And I wrongfully, looking back now, wrongfully took that emotional side and put a pin in it. And I put that away in a box. And I never opened it. And when you do something like that, that box, it grows, right? And that pin, it comes out in other ways. And that's what happened to me. And I said after, many years after, that although that got me through the death of my father, it never really was the best thing for me. That pain, that emotional suffering, it manifested itself in other ways. And I said to myself, if I ever had another tragedy again, I would handle things differently. So this time I'm not putting all of that emotion and pain in a box, in a pin, and hiding it under the mattress. I'm dealing with it in other ways. This is one. Speaking to others is another. I'm not going to hide about this. I've got cancer. It can kill me, but there's a good chance it won't. So why dwell on the 100% negative? Let's stay positive. Let's keep the glass half full. Surround yourself with positive people, and let's tackle this head on. I know I've got a hell of a fight ahead of me, a hell of a fight, but I'm gonna fight. I want to fight this. I've got no doubt that I'll see it through. I'm at the point whereby I'm not scared by any of this. I'm not frightened by any of this. I'm ready to tackle it head on. And as I said, it's the 23rd of February 2022 today. And I start chemotherapy tomorrow. I'm at stage 4 lymphoma, which is the highest stage. We need to start acting fast now. We went to the clinic today to have a pre-treatment consultation. They let us know, what's going to happen tomorrow. There's so much you can read about all of this kind of stuff. Now, I just need to go through it. I know I'm going to get tired. I know I'm going to lose my hair. I know all of this. None of this worries me. I just want to know how tired I want to be. Will I still be able to do these updates for these videos? Is anybody going to watch them? Am I going to waste my time? Should I not bother doing it? All of these things kind of enter in my mind. But if making these videos and putting it out there reassures one person, just one person, all of this is worth it. All this is worth it, because I think things like this is not talked about often enough. And everybody seems to know somebody who's gone through cancer. Yeah, no one thinks it's going to be them until it happens. So thank you for listening to this first video. I hope it's given you some kind of insight as to lead up of what I've done, what I'm kind of going through, my mindset. I might make the next video tomorrow to see what the first day of chemotherapy is like. But it just depends on how tired I am. You know, it might take a couple of days. So bear with me. Stay on this journey with me. I'm not sure kind of what form I want to do this in, whether it's YouTube or not. But you know, if it is that case, and you know, feel free to write comments, ask questions, anything you want. You know, I'm literally going to be an open book about this for anybody who wants to know more. So there it is. Thank you so much. See you soon.